Hello.
Hello.
And welcome back to another episode of Guys Playing Games with me, Perry.
And me, Ed.
And me, Az.
And this
and
week,
me, Ben.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, and this week we've got a guest,
Nailed it.
but he took the what's the initiative? And yeah, so we have a guest this week. Do you want to introduce yourself again, Ben, and tell us like who you are, and what you do?
My name is Ben. I go by the in-game moniker Big Ben because I'm from London and, you know, it's easy to remember. And I play Hearthstone for MnM Gaming.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hello, thank you for joining us today, Ben. It's,
No,
it was a bit
pleasure.
It was a bit slapdash. After last week, we were like, yeah, we might have a guest, and then we asked Ben.
Well, yeah, we had the idea, like we were like,
Yeah.
oh, the Hearthstone expansion is coming out this week. Why don't we get a Hearthstone person on next week? And you immediately sprang to mind because I guess we've known each other a few years now actually. So
It's kind of scary when you realise Hearthstone's been out for about 4 or 5 years, and we kind of went to the first Fireside Gathering, I think, way back when in Meltdown. Yeah. It's a long time ago.
But obviously, So since then, you've like gone all pro and stuff.
Yeah, you're in the stratosphere now, mate.
You've
Not
like,
Meltdown anymore, eh?
Unfortunately, I'm still rendered there now and again. They have their Fireside Gatherings. It's quite good fun and beating up on the local patrons. But no, the last 6 months or so which have really kicked off. There's a UK Premiership. The season 3, I came third, and I was at Comic-Con. That was my first proper event, and it's absolutely terrifying being on the Comic-Con stage because you have 400 or 500 people kind of directly in front of you, and you have the lights in your face and cameramen, and I completely went awful on stage. I don't think I won a game, but then I came back and won the next season, and that's where I got this guy.
There it is, the trophy. Yeah, so we're gonna come back to that, and we're gonna talk to you more about that and ask you a few questions. I know I've got a bunch of questions to ask. So, but before, let's do the standard. What have you all been playing? Who wants to kick off?
I'll kick off.
Yeah, Az can kick off. Go on, Az start.
I'll kick off because mine's real short and sweet.
Go on then.
And just as a precursor to Ben as well, I just want to get this in before we dive into the Hearthstone stuff. I have never played Hearthstone. I know nothing, so don't be offended if I'm just like, yeah, cool. I have no idea. I'm third wheel to these guys on that shit. So yeah. But yeah, this week I have been playing Wildlands, much similar to last week. Was I playing last week? No, this week is my first week playing it.
I think Ed was talking about Wildlands.
You were Wildlands last week. This is my first week. I had a nice dirty binge session of it on the weekend. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. It is very nice. I like it. My dude looks like Sam Fisher. It's a nice time.
Of course he does.
Probably had a lot. I played for like 6 hours on Friday night, I think. Playing till like 2 in the morning. Which for me,
I joined you for a little bit.
Yeah, you jumped in a bit for that session, didn't you? Like for me, that's late. Like I don't stay up till 2 a.m. playing video games anymore. I'm too much of an old man for that shit. But,
not the young man we used to be.
No, exactly. It gets like midnight these days, and I'm like, right, I need to go to bed. I am tired. I've had a hard day at work.
Yeah, especially on a Friday night. I tend to find on a Friday night. Friday night, I'm like, yeah, I can stay up really late. I haven't got to go to work tomorrow, and I get to midnight, I'm falling asleep.
No, I can. I can stay up. Okay.
I can stay past my bedtime.
Exactly. These days for me though, it's like Friday night. If I'm not seeing the girlfriend, Friday night is like the night to go hardcore on any game that I want to play over the weekend. Because otherwise I'm not playing that shit until the midweek or something.
I love the fact that it's not going out anymore. It's not like, Friday night, I've got a free Friday night, let's go get some drinks. It's like, no, I'm going to sink 12 hours of my life into this game. It's going to be beautiful.
Exactly. I have not been drunk this year. Just saying, speaking of like partying and stuff, I've not.
This year?
I think this year. Impressive. Like, we're halfway through April, and for me, and these guys know me, that is fucking impressive.
Yeah, that's really, impressive.
Since the day I turned 18, I can't remember a month where I didn't go without drinking, and like I've gone 4 this month. So go me.
Go you.
I'm sober, kind of, until the next time the big drinking session happens. But yeah.
So you just wanted to quickly ask about the Splinter Cell content that was in Wildlands.
Yeah, do it.
How was that implemented? I just wanted to know how that was implemented, because it's kind of out the blue where Ubisoft kind of said, "Hey, Splinter Cell," and we got Michael Ironside back.
That's exactly it. I mean, we kind of touched on it last week. I mean, they're obviously heavily supporting like Year 2 and stuff like that, Wildlands. Much like that. I mean, we're gushing over Ubisoft on this channel at the minute because the way they're like supporting their games after release.
Rainbow Six Siege, like that game was dead on arrival, and then what now? Year 3 are they up to?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're talking about a 10-year plan for that game, which is just nuts, to be honest. So, well, it sounds nuts, but then you think of games like Counter-Strike and stuff like that. I know obviously there's been different iterations in between, but that game is essentially the same game. It's never really changed.
Call of Duty, essentially.
Yeah. They just put a nice bow on it every year, don't they? They go, here you go, we've got a blue bow this year. Everybody buy a blue bow.
We'll get on to Call of Duty later. There's been some interesting rumours about this year's one. So,
but one of my guesstimations, like coming into the fucking mainstream this week as well. Yeah. Obviously they're supporting Year 2 and stuff like that, and so I think they're just trying to have. Well, there's rumours again. We mentioned it last week. Is that there is rumours there's going to be another Splinter Cell game? So this is a nice little way to be like, oh, don't forget about Splinter Cell. That's still a thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if come E3 we do see something.
Yeah, because E3's not far away. That's what, June.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a couple of months away. So really it's going to creep up.
It has. It took me a while to realise that we're already at the end of April. I'm like, what the
I mean, Microsoft and Ubi and stuff like that are dropping the times for their shows and stuff on Twitter and stuff like that now, so we're getting promoted online. So, that's going to soon creep up. So, Ubi are just supporting their games after the fact. Cool. So, it's pretty cool. And I'm enjoying it. I would recommend picking it up, especially if you've got friends to play with. I've been playing it with my friend Cole, and we're loving it. So it's worth a go. Ed, obviously, you need to join us some more. Every time I invite you, you're like, oh, I'm busy, or oh, I'm cooking, or it's like, stop doing things like adult stuff.
Pick the right times. Like, I can't
oh, well, I'll catch you at some point.
Go on then.
So that's me this week.
Tell me what you've been doing.
I'll go next, and then
mine kind of segues into yours as well. So it's kind of it's like a joint. What we've been playing this week, guys.
But not together.
Not together. No.
Last weekend on my little Sunday Twitch stream-a-thon, I fired up Tera, which is an MMO. It's not the first MMO to come to console, but it's been on PC. I just to preface this, I knew nothing about it before like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then they did a whole Twitch Prime promotion for the console release. Turns out it's been around on PC for like 5 years. So it's been for ages. It's like they obviously must have a decent base behind it, community and stuff. It's not something that's ever really crossed my radar before. And it popped up on Twitch Prime. Like, here's some goodies for the console release. And I was like, okay, I'll check this out and have a go. And I put a few hours into it on Sunday and Monday night, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really weird to be playing something that feels like a PC MMO on a console. They got the control system down for the console really well. I found after playing it for a few hours, it was starting to become quite intuitive and kind of second nature. They really kind of
Tera itself is a combo. It's basically a combo-based game. So the combat works in a way where you use an ability and that triggers the use of other abilities. So it actually works really well on a console. So it's designed. It's kind of from the set. It's been designed really well for a pad.
Yeah.
So I think from what I've seen of it on the console as well, it looks quite fluid and nice
and it's. I mean, the overriding thing that I'll say about it is it felt very much like I was playing World of Warcraft on a console, and I don't say that in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's it shares a lot of similarities with World of Warcraft, but then why wouldn't it? It's a hugely successful MMO. Obviously, it has different systems and mechanics for like various crafting bits, and all the lore obviously is different. But in terms of the way it kind of plays, like the key difference in the combat, like I mean, obviously WoW ran on like a tick-based, almost sort of tick-based, turn-based.
It was exactly a tick-based.
It's more of an action.
So Tera is like full real-time, like you can dodge out the way of stuff. All the attacks are telegraphed.
That's the hugest difference. It's kind of what sets it apart from most other MMOs is that it's not a target system, so you don't target an enemy and then run up to it and then attack it. It's you aim your abilities at the enemy. So it's it's huge for like cleave damage. So like you can group up a bunch of mobs and then just like charge through them a few times, and then
I found myself doing that. So I'm playing a berserker, which is basically just a dude with a massive axe. So there's a lot of like, you know, whirlwind and like sort of big sweeping arc sort of attacks.
So does it play a bit like Smite in a way, like that kind of third-person perspective?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I've played a bit of Smite on console. Yeah, I guess it is kind of similar to that. Yeah,
it's obviously it's a different game type, but the controls. Also, Smite, I think your champion only has like 2 or 3 abilities, doesn't it? Whereas Tera, you have like hundreds.
Is it Smite a MOBA?
Yeah.
Smite is, but it's kind of from a third-person kind of perspective with direct inputs. So I was wondering if it's kind of a bit like a cross between the two in a way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what were we just talking about? Combos stuff. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry about that.
No,
Tera, RPG, MMO.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, like I seem to be leveling up like crazy. So like max level's only 65, and in my kind of session just on Sunday, I hit like 27. So yeah, they're dishing out XP like crazy.
Yeah.
That's making me think that maybe like that the kind of max level end game is quite significant.
Yeah,
you're going to get there quite quick, and then there's going to be a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case.
I think with a game like that that's free to play and probably doesn't have a player base of something like a World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or something like that, is that's a hook. Like if you're leveling up quick, you're constantly progressing quicker, and it's like, oh shit,
Absolutely.
I'll keep playing. And that's a way to hook you in.
Surprisingly, Tera actually has a big player base, and I think it's for this level reason. So it's like it's in a similar place to World of Warcraft now. Like World of Warcraft, if you were to start a new World of Warcraft character now, you would be max level in a week, because they're like, all right, we did all this like we reworked all the leveling content like 3 expansions ago, go play it, but then get to max level and do all the relevant stuff. So I think it's in that sort of mindset. It's like, look, we'll give you an XP boost, we'll charge you through the questing and the leveling, get you to 65, and then get you playing like the end game stuff.
Well, yeah, especially on a console. That's like, you know, it's a different, you know, players on a console, but they're not the same as people who play games on a PC, who play like a traditional MMO and stuff like that as well. They've not had those kind of games really. I mean, there's stuff that's been on consoles, obviously like Final Fantasy 11. Which is on PS2 and Xbox 360, but
the only other what other is Elder Scrolls Online, and that's the only other console MMO.
But even that though is very different to like a traditional MMO, because it plays much like a normal Elder Scrolls game. So yeah, it's really different. So like I say, like I think that's more of a hook.
I mean, as I say, like
for console players to get invested.
Yeah, but definitely like playing this, it definitely. It felt very much like you can tell this is a PC game that's been ported, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
It's like, successfully ported,
it feels, you can tell it's a PC game. Like it has the depth of like all the abilities and stuff, and the way that that's controlled. Like, you know, you have the hotbar across the bottom, which practically every button on the controller is mapped to something on that hotbar, and then by just using the left bumper, you switch into a second hotbar whereby all your buttons are suddenly remapped. So, and it works really well. It's quite a quick. It's really quickly accessible, and it gives you that, you know, that depth of like abilities, like combinations and access to all those kind of different functionalities.
I think that would have been my main worry coming into this on the console, is that I played Tera previously a couple of years ago, and I got to like level 30 odd, and it was good. It was good fun. The only reason I stopped playing it is because I started playing Hearthstone. I basically picked up Hearthstone again, and then that fell off. But yeah, that would have been my only concern, is like, because you get so many skills. Like by the time you're like level 30, you've got like 25 different skills, and you're like, well, how am I going to get all of these? Like, it's hard enough getting all of these on your screen on a computer. Like getting them on the console, I imagine would have been challenging. But yeah, from what I hear, what you're saying, it's quite successful. I'm impressed with it. I shall continue playing. Good.
And around other stuff. Cool. So Perry, what have you been playing this week?
So I've been playing Tera as well. So off the back of you picking it up, I was like, I'm going to re-explore this. You know, I'm going to check it out. So Chip and I played Tera. We've put about 4 hours into it, and we're like level 35. So just to give you a bit of a background, Ben, I played World of Warcraft for like 10 years. So
okay.
I'm like,
so this is all second nature.
Yeah,
now.
I'm an MMO veteran, and Chip's the same as well. So we didn't fuck around. We started characters and we were like, right, let's go. And then we had like a good 3-hour session on Saturday, and we got to like level 28. Like and like.
So you were playing it before I played.
Yeah,
it?
I was playing it before you played it. Yeah. And then on Sunday we did all of the dungeons basically, but we 2-manned them. So
bloody hell.
so
Chip 10 men.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So Chip is a ninja, and I'm playing a lancer. So a lancer is like the tankiest class in the game. That I like literally can block all damage. It's insane. Like they're so indestructible. So we were literally just body pulling like 20 mobs in this dungeon room. I would stun them, and then Chip would just go nuts on them. Like it was really impressive. It was really funny, but it was brought back like my old MMO days. Like it hit that nostalgia sweet spot where you're like, oh.
You say old days. You still play RuneScape like every day.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like RuneScape is a very different MMO.
Yeah,
and also I don't play it like
I guess,
an MMO, so.
Yeah.
So
play it like a second
play
job.
It like
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And speaking of RuneScape, thanks, Az. I'm gonna.
But you're regretting that now.
Oh, massively. I shouldn't have said anything.
So I'm gonna actually like start a weekly RNG bullshit topic. Like so.
Oh, I can help with that.
Yeah, RuneScape is a game based almost purely on RNG, right? Like. Depending on when you get the items, it depends on how many times you kill the boss, depends on how lucky your number roll is. So Chip came over at the weekend, and I've been killing this one boss called Zora for like months now, like literally months to try and get a certain set of items. I got to like a 1,100 kill count, still haven't got the item I fucking want. So Chip was like, I was killing this boss for like 3 hours while he was there, and he was just like, why don't you take a break, and why don't you try and kill it on my account? And I was like, yeah.
No.
I was like, yeah, okay. No. Like it'll be like a fun challenge because so Chip's account's not as strong as mine basically. So
why the fuck would you even do that?
I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take it. It could be fun. So I get 8 kills in, and the item that I am hunting for drops.
Wow.
And I'm like. So the drop rate of this item as well was like 1 in 128. So he got it so fucking early. He got it 120 kills early on average, and I was like, I'm done. Fuck you. Fuck this game. I'm out. And I sulked for like an hour. Like you can ask.
So you didn't trade it to your own account before he came back.
Oh, this is the problem. You see, this is your account, isn't it?
This was Chip's account.
Oh, you can't trade
it. But you can't trade because.
Oh yeah. So I play what's known as an Iron Man account, which means I can't trade with other players. I can't use the brand exchange. So I get this fucking item on his account. Like he can't even use it because he doesn't have the prerequisites. Like. So that was it. So I sulked for like an hour, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go back to Zora and I'm gonna get it. And lo and fucking behold,
really?
on kill 1,160, the item drops. So I got 2 of the same fucking item in one day on 2 different accounts. I was like, that you like good job, Jagex, because I was about to spin kick you. Like I would have come to your office and lined you up and just spin kicked each of you one by one. I was so angry, and Chip's just looking at me like. Oh, I can see it in his face.
That's bullshit, to be fair.
I can see it in his face. He's just like, you've just saved me, like hours and hours and hours of grinding, like because he doesn't even know how to kill the fucking boss. Like that's the best bit. He doesn't even know how. And I get the item, and I was just like, I'm never letting you talk me into killing bosses on your account. Again.
Why would you have done that? You should just know.
It'll be fun. Like it will be challenging. So because he's got lower stats than me, he's got shitter gear than me, and I was like, it'll be challenging. So I was getting like literally 1 kill per trip, and I was like, and having to go back to the bank, get loads more food, heal up and stuff, and then go back to the boss. But yeah, fuck. I was like, the best part is as well. It could have been one of 5 items. And it was the one item that I needed. It was yeah. So that's my RNG fuckery for this week. That's
nice.
There's always something that happens like every week. So I'm gonna like memorize them and actually like start telling people about the shit because like it's fucking dumb.
RNG.
People need to know.
People need to know how bullshit RNG is. Yeah. So that's me this week. That's pretty much.
No, it's games we have played.
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast now. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
That was nice playing games. We played them. We told you about them. See you later.
Shut up, Az. It's not the end. We're only just getting started. So, Ben, what aside from Hearthstone, because we know the new expansion came out last week, and we're gonna move cunningly onto that in a minute. What other bits and pieces? You said you had some other bits and pieces you've been playing just prior to Hearthstone expansion dropping last week. So if you just want to tell us a bit about what you've been up to.
Well, recently Twitch have been incredibly generous with the games they're giving away for free if you have their kind of Prime membership, which you also get if you tag with your Amazon account, if you also have Prime. And they've been giving away like really high quality indie games. So last month alone, it was Steamword Dig 2, Steamword Dig Heist, Super Hot was there, Kingsway, Mr. Shifty, Tales from the Borderlands, Tokyo 42. It goes on, and they're really high caliber indie games. Super Hot is one of the most innovative FPS games we've had in the last decade.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But I managed to suddenly dig down into Steamword Dig 2, which is a really excellent little indie game you can complete in about 5 hours. And it's a really satisfying gameplay loop. Have any of you played the first one?
I actually don't know anything. I know the name, but I can't picture it at all. I can't think what it is.
Did anybody ever play Motherload on Miniclip back in the day? Where you had the little kind of a digging robot, you go down, you get minerals, you go back up to the top.
Okay, that rings a bell.
I played a game like it, but it wasn't called Motherload. I can't remember what it was called. And you had to like collect gems.
Exactly. It's essentially that, but built into a Metroidvania. So you're kind of going down, you're digging down, you're getting higher value gems. You need to go back up to your base to kind of trade it in for money, which you can then upgrade yourself. And there are certain dungeons you kind of go into, they'll kind of be like challenge rooms, and you can unlock better abilities. So you can run, you can double jump, you can use kind of projectiles, you can get a stun rope, you know, you can. It's just a proper Metroidvania, but within this really satisfying gameplay loop. And it does something very clever in that there are these kind of upgraded cogs, which give you better abilities, but you can respec whenever you like. So you can kind of think, hey, I want to go and get a lot of money at the moment, so I'll increase my my bag so I can have more gems. You can get more money from it. You can trade them in for better rates. And then when you want to do more exploring, then you'll kind of respec and trade it in for something else.
Okay.
It sounds quite interesting,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really tight package. Like, I think I was finished in about 5 hours, but there is loads more content to it if that's what you want. And it's really satisfying to have a self-contained little game compared to the lots of the other stuff which I do is very endless. You know, I play Rocket League and Hearthstone, which you can just play till the ends of time. So it's quite nice having a satisfying
something with a finite
game.
An end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of the finishes.
So yeah, it's been mainly that and a bit of Rocket League because I don't feel like playing Hearthstone before a new expansion comes out. We've had this meta for say 4 months, and you want something new, so I kind of stayed away until that came out.
Ah, well, fair play. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
What would you say is your your title that you've put the most time in other than Hearthstone in this downtime in your Hearthstone downtime?
Recently, it would be Rocket League. That is definitely my kind of go-to secondary game. It's just immensely satisfying, and I don't like sports games, you know, like FIFA and whatever, but it is the most lifelike of any sports game because it's kind of one-to-one. You are that player, whereas FIFA, you are controlling 11 men at once. Rocket League, you are just one person.
Okay,
and then when you see the competitive level sides of it, when you have teams of 3v3, you really see them kind of crossing it to then kind of set up passes and shots to each other more realistically than any football game, which is bizarre considering you're driving cars with rockets in them. But it's fascinating to watch.
Like the skill,
especially the competitive side.
So do you stream a lot as well, Ben, or do you?
I don't really find the time to do that. I do some commentary stuff, but I like watching a lot of Twitch and streams and competitive stuff.
Okay, cool.
Well,
I just wondered because obviously a bit with the whole pro gaming thing, I didn't know if you like Twitch streams as well or what. So
I have a full-time job, so all this gaming stuff is just a hobby. It's always a secondary plan to have, but I just find it difficult to kind of sink the time into stream religiously. I've got a lot of friends who can do that now full-time. They're finished with their degrees, or they're going to try this for part-time for a while, but not quite got to that stage yet.
Oh, fair
enough. I mean, it's kind of like you two have been streaming a lot. Like I said that I would, but I haven't. I haven't had the time.
I did for a week.
You did for a week, I suppose.
I did for a week, and then reality set in, and it was like, oh, okay, I'm too tired.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Isn't it? Like when you've got a full-time job, it's not like it takes a lot of focus to be engaged in a stream.
Yeah, I mean it's weird that you say that, like, because before I started doing it, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to sit there and play games. But when you're a new channel with like very few to no people watching, but you still have to be engaging on the off chance that somebody, like, new people do drop in and they want to stick around. So, and it's surprising how difficult I found that.
Yeah.
Like, but then the few times that like you've popped in or somebody else has popped in and started asking questions, it suddenly becomes easier because you have somebody to converse with, and
once you have the viewer base there, like it's exactly the same what happened to me when I tried to stream RuneScape like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And until you get people there that are asking you questions and engaging with you, you're just saying, "Oh, I'm going to go kill this thing now. Oh, I'm going to click on this thing. I'm going to go over here. I've got to hand this in now." Like, and it's just like an endless stream of bullshit.
It's actually really tough. Like, it's weird how difficult it is. Like, because you think I'll just sit there and play like games for a few hours, but then you get there and like I found like the past, this weekend especially, the streaming Tera, I guess it wasn't a popular game to stream, so I didn't really get as many people dropping by as I have done previous weeks. And like I was, I got 2 or 3 hours in and it's like, this is quite draining. Like, I actually just want to go and sit and play this in the other room on my own. Like,
it's still the reason I haven't streamed a lot. It's because lately I've been playing a lot on the Xbox, like Wildlands and other bits and pieces, whatever. And like, I got my nice fucking expensive TV like next to my head here. And if I want to stream, I have to play in 1080p, and I can't play in HDR and all that fucking funky stuff. So I'm like, well, fuck it then, I won't stream. I'm just going to play it in high quality because I can't be asked. I want to see it looking nice. Like, I don't want to fucking downgrade so I can entertain some people. I can do that on the podcast. So yeah, that's why I haven't been streaming as well.
Okay,
it's fine, but yeah. Sorry, I was just finishing off.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
So, well, I suppose that's probably a good point to move on to our next area of conversation.
Yeah. Which is going to be the Hearthstone expansion.
It's going to be the Hearthstone expansion.
The Witchwood.
The Witchwood, yeah.
Werewolves and...
with all the bullshit cards that come with it.
Spooky stuff. And the new meta that might not actually be a new meta.
No, it's
not.
But
we'll get into that in a minute.
The new meta that still has Q-Block in it.
And Aggro Paladin.
And Aggro Paladin, yeah. Go ahead, so come then, Ben. What was your like initial reaction to the Hearthstone expansion? Were there any cards that like stuck out to you?
We did me and a few friends did a kind of set review, so we kind of reviewed the 140 cards. But this is the big change, which happens once a year, where the bigger change is the three expansions which are being removed, and then there's only one new one being added. So there's almost more change in the decks that are or the cards are rotating out more than the cards that are coming in, because there's certain archetypes which have been around for 2 years. They seem like staple decks that everyone has mastered because they've put thousands of games into, and now they disappear. So it's always really difficult to evaluate the new cards when you've suddenly lost what you think is the standard set, and a lot of those evaluations are completely wrong. It's suddenly amazing how 24 hours, 48 hours can completely revolutionize what you think is good and bad.
It does seem like there is. I think there is actually kind of a precedent for Hearthstone expansions. There's always like 1 or 2 cards, or maybe one card in particular that when it's revealed in the weeks leading out, everyone's like, that's shit, and then it becomes like the defining card of the expansion.
Well, the kind of opposite of that happened recently with a card called Shadowwalk in Shaman, where it replays every battle cry you played this game. Now, people don't like that card, and rightly so, because it has an animation time which can go on for like 5 minutes, which is obscene. However, everyone assumed it was the most broken card in Hearthstone, and then after about 24 hours, you look at the stats sites, and I had a global win rate of about 42%, which is 9th across all classes in Hearthstone. But people just don't like losing to that card, so people were asking for it to be nerfed, to be changed immediately. But
yeah,
it's got an awful win rate. Exactly. So people just, there's certain things people don't like immediately. Overall, kind of, Hearthstone is very good at kind of fixing itself. You know, if there's one deck which is very good, other classes then kind of come up to kind of counter it. Yeah. There's a very kind of rock, paper, scissors. It kind of develops itself in a way.
Yeah, I think the Shudderwock deck was like, it's a bit of a mean deck, really. Like, you basically win.
Yeah.
You basically win by determining how much patience your opponent has. Like, if they can be asked to sit through the 27 battle cries that are going to come, like, then you're probably going to lose. But if they're like, no, I'd rather display the next game.
So why is this card? Why is it so slow when something like Yogg would fire off quite quickly?
So they Blizzard effed up with the card animation. Like, it takes a long time to do the battle cry, but then it's getting like in some cases it's getting comboed with what's the double battle cry shaman card?
I think it's Remembering Elemental.
Remembering Elemental.
So
it's basically like a Brand Bronzebeard, but
okay.
But then you use it, and then the battle cries that have happened previously happen again, because the Shudderwock's battle cry is the battle cries that happen. It's like
Hearthstone's had a history of this. Did you ever play Patron Warrior back in the day? Do you remember the Frothing Berserker? Yeah. Patron. Yeah, best deck in Hearthstone. But those animations, if you imagine that, but amplified doubly so, you kind of have to do the maths in your heads and plan it all ahead of time. Blizzard in a behind-the-scenes video was saying that they didn't want it to happen too fast, so that you didn't know what had happened. But it's kind of getting to the point where you can have 5 or 10 minutes of animations queued up, which is.
I'm sure I saw somebody had like a 15-minute turn, like, which is
Disguised Toast actually. So using there's a Grumble the World Shaker. So its battle cry is to put the cards on the board back into your hand. He actually uncovered a bug where you could have 11 cards in your hand, and he was just like, well, better report this before I get banned. So
he has a history of doing that.
Yeah. Because I actually like to watch Toast's videos at the beginning of an expansion, because he investigates like card interactions. So he'll look at like how this card interacts with this, and like one of the great ones was the Chameleon card. If it turned into I can't remember what it was. There's
Death Knight Anduin, I think you're thinking.
Yeah, that's the one where it kills itself. So if it turns into Death Knight Anduin and you use it, you have used a minion card, so you kill yourself. So the Death Knight Anduin's battle cry is to kill all minions with over 5 attack. Right? So you keep the attack of the card that you've transformed from. So you kill yourself. It
has been fixed. It was all changed about 2 days ago, so they actually are having quite quick to change those things. But there's some very odd interactions with the Voodoo doll, where you could target a minion, bounce it back to your hand, replay it, and it would still kill that minion.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of in its code that it has to kill this one minion. But, it's just standard bugs which they fixed within the first couple of days. They've been quite quick with those.
It's good to know that they're running that whole fixes fairly quickly. I mean,
definitely.
Of the what's your favourite meta deck at the minute?
What's standing out?
I like playing the stuff which isn't meta in a way, like the new decks. I mean, there's 2 new main cards which were released in the set, which I can't remember the names of, but I can tell you what they do. They upgrade your hero power depending if you have all even cards or all odd cards in your deck. Baku and Gen, something or other. This is the thing, if you ask any pro Hearthstone player, they don't know the name of the cards, but they know what they all do. It's a 2/2 that summons this. So one of them upgrades your hero power. So it's like I've gone blank on the name now.
I had this played against me a couple of times. Like,
only
Hunters I've seen this playing.
It's Baku. Baku's the one that it upgrades the hero power, and it turns.
Right.
So for rogues, it turns the 1/1 dagger into a 2/2 dagger, and then
1/2 dagger, and then you've got paladins now get 2 1/1s. Warriors get 4 armor instead of 2, and then the other even hero power, even dude, makes your hero power cost 1. So you would think by having a deck entirely made up of cards cost 2, 4, 6, 8. It's awful. But now you can play Hero Power on 1, play a 2-mana card, 2-mana card Hero Power, 4-mana, 4-mana Hero Power. So it kind of evens out your curve because you kind of squeeze in the Hero Powers all the time. Okay. As with the odds decks, so your decks are made up of 1, 3, 5, 7. You play your 1-drop, then you Hero Power because you want to on turn 2. You play your 3-mana card, and then you Hero Power on 4. You kind of catch up your tempo that you've lost with really strong Hero Powers. It got to the point on day 1 or 2, I think Ball Control got to rank 2 or 3 Legend, playing an odd Paladin, which had Raid Leader and Storm and Champion in it.
Well,
Raid Leader got to rank 3 Legend with Raid Leader.
That's great.
And Light's Justice, which was incredible to beat the mirrors.
Those cards are good examples of the cards where, like, when I first saw them, I was like, well, these are awful. Like, these just aren't going to see play. And now they're, like, pivotal cards. Like, they make decks, like, literally make decks. So
and without testing, you know, that opens up 18 different decks by itself because you've got every class odd and even.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously some of them are going to be bad, but it opens up the possibility space for players to test and play around with.
Law of
Somebody on Asia just got even Shaman to very high Legend, which no one really saw coming. And then you got odd Control Warrior, and you got Paladin, you have even odd neither Murloc Control. So there's a huge amount of variety, and it's going to take a while until the meta settles down and we realize, okay, these are tier 1s, these are tier 2, etc. But this is the exciting side of it.
On the meta, do you feel a lot of people are complaining that it hasn't changed enough? This expansion has, even with everything rotating out, you've still got Q-Blocks and Aggro Paladins are still the top tier decks, which have been there for the past X months, and they're just still there.
Yeah.
Q-Block's
the one for me that stands out the most.
Yeah, I mean, do you
they lost very little. In fact, it was basically 1 card in the Mistress of Mixtures, which is kind of less prevalent or less needed because there isn't as much aggro. Because Secret Mage has lost a lot of its speed, so you don't need that aggressive healing as much as you used to previously. And I can definitely see that being a problem when people think, hey, I want a brand new experience. And you end up, after a few days, you had your fun, now it's Q-Block, Q-Block, Q-Block.
Back to the same.
I can definitely see that being a potential issue, particularly with Q-Block, as so little was changed. And in fact, you can argue it's got stronger because they have the Voodoo Doll can go in there. It's a 3-mana card. Choose a minion. Death Rattle, destroy that chosen minion. And because it's a 1/1, you can play it. You can target a big guy, play Defile, it kills itself and clears a load of other stuff.
Oh, it's just disgusting.
And there's Lord Godfrey, deal 2 damage to all other minions and repeats if it destroys it.
Yeah, he's like
so
the Mega Defile. Yeah.
Mega Defile.
Yeah, so in a way, I don't like playing ladder all that much. I prefer the tournament strategy to it. So for me, I know I can just ban Warlock and play some other stuff. But for the global kind of health for Hearthstone, I think it would have been nice to see some more changes. What I think they'll do is release these cards, leave it maybe a month. If Q-Block is still near the top, then they'll make some changes.
Yeah.
Because they've just released
Nerf Void Lord.
God's sake.
I don't think it's so much Void Lord itself which is the issue. If it came out on turn 9, it'd be fine. It's the fact you can cheat it out with Skull and Lackey, which is the issue.
Yeah.
I've heard one person say that Void Lord should be a battle cry, because then when you keep resummoning it, it's just a 3/9 with taunts, which is obviously good, but you know,
and that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
So then it's a lot of tempo when you do play it, but how often do you actually ever play that card? You always pull it as a death rattle from Lackey or from the Skull. And with Paladins, again, there's a lot of variety. One deck that I don't think anybody saw coming was Taunt Druid, which is a new deck, which is... Sorry again. When a new rotation comes out, you suddenly have a lot of cards which are unplayable from the last 12 months becoming good again. Avian, I think it's not Aviana. Hadronox is a Druid legendary, which saw seldom 0 play, and that's now part of a tier 1 deck now. And it's even being played with naturalized. So you play a whole load of taunts. That's a pity. You might have to grant it again if you want. You know, you play Lich Kings and you play a whole load of taunts, and then you can play Hadronox, naturalize it yourself to bring back a huge board of taunts, and there's a card called Witching Hour, which brings back a random beast for 3 mana. That's the only beast in the deck, so you're always going to get Hadronauts.
Holy shit. That sounds so... Oh, no.
Yeah. And it destroys Q Block. So, yeah, that's going to be your next deck.
Nice. I'm going to have to investigate
Yeah,
this
I know what I'm building when
But then Murloc Paladin destroys that, and Quest Rogue is coming back, which destroys that as well. So,
not Quest Rogue.
Yes, Quest Rogue!
Yeah, exactly. And then other aggressive decks which beat that. So again, the rock paper scissors Lizard Spock, you know, it just keeps evolving, and that's why I really like Hearthstone at the moment, because there's decks which you would never have thought of which are doing well again. I find it fascinating.
How does Rogue Quest interact with Sonya? Does the 1/1 that spawns
that counts
turn into a 5/5?
It will do afterwards, and that's actually one of the best ways to complete the quest. It's later on. I remember Ball Control doing this in Oslo, where on turn 3, he played Sonya, Shadow Scepter to his hand, ended his turn. So he has a 1-mana Sonya. So he can play that with, say, Stone Tusk Boar, and just ram it into something 4 or 5 times.
That's dirty.
That's quest.
I love it.
But it's a really cool deck. I like it because it's wholly different to another deck in Hearthstone. There's no other deck like it, which is why I like Freeze Mage and Handlock and Patron Warrior. They're all different to just, here's a minion, hit you in the face. Here's a minion, hit you in the face.
Which is all Hunter decks.
Which is every Hunter deck ever, yeah. Okay, so let's talk.
So, yeah, I want to ask a question?
Yeah, please, please. Ask me anything.
I've been dead silent. Yeah. No, why Hearthstone, basically? Like, were you big into, like, other card games and stuff like that previously? Like, did you like Magic the Gathering, probably Pokemon when you were a kid? Like, were you big into playing games like that? Or is this just, like, something you just picked up?
Pretty much, I just picked it up. The only kind of card... I liked board games and tabletop games, but beyond that, I played I think it's Jewels of the Planeswalker games on the Xbox, which is, like, a really bad way of playing Magic, but... It's 10 quid, it's all in, there's no DLC, you don't have to buy millions and millions of packs, you know, it's just there. And it's quite a good kind of gateway into the whole kind of CCG kind of thing. Okay. You had kind of defined decks, but you couldn't experiment too much, you know, you have your original 60 cards, and you maybe unlock another 100, and then you kind of have those 160 to make, you know, a white-blue deck or whatever.
I had no idea those Magic games were like all in. I just assumed that, because I guess I kind of only saw them after I was away.
Let me just interrupt you one second. I'm going to move away because my headphones are dying.
I'll just keep talking in the means. Yeah. So those are just very kind of gateway entry level ways of getting into the kind of CCGs. And then I remember seeing, I think it was Total Biscuit doing his Lord of the Arena series for Hearthstone, and then watching it on Twitch, and that's kind of what got me into it. It's like, hey, a card game. I'd never played WoW, but it's made by Blizzard. I've heard of them, and I managed to get a closed beta key to sign up, and I kind of haven't stopped playing since then. There were periods where I was less interested and I was more interested, but by and large, I've been quite casual to an extent. Like, I knew a lot of the other people in the UK. I started going to LAN events, but I never took this kind of competitively. It was just a hobby, and I like the community within the UK.
So how did you get into the competitive side of it then? Like, were you just like, fuck, I'm good, let's go try a competition, or
quote unquote, fuck, I'm good. There you go.
Fuck, I'm good.
We got the quote.
I'm going to change my Twitter bio to that now.
Fuck, I'm good.
I'm good.
I remember I played for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then Blizzard announced these Fireside Gatherings, which are kind of local tournaments that are incentivized to kind of bring people along. So I thought, London's a big place, there must be one. And that's where I first found out about Meltdown, a esports bar in the kind of North London. So I went to the very first one of those. I was quite shy, I didn't know anyone there, and I didn't actually even take place in the tournament. I thought, oh, these guys are good, they got legends, I'm not that good. I went to the second one, and I got talked into playing it. You're here, you might as well. And then I won it.
So that's when you were like, fuck, I'm good.
I think that was my exact
And that's where the snowball came. Yeah.
And from there, I kind of kept going back. They were about once a month, once every couple of months. I got to know the guy who owns Meltdown. He plays some Hearthstone. And then since then, it's only kind of grown and grown. You know, I've gone to, like... There were 4 of us who went to DreamHack Sweden in 2015. Basically to play Hearthstone in Sweden. We paid for ourselves. It was just like a fun holiday, which happens to have some Hearthstone, and it was just really I don't know, encouraging to see the scale that you can have with this kind of community. You know, particularly DreamHack Sweden, 10,000 people take their full desktop PCs and desks and everything to a lab
10,
to be in a giant shed.
Yeah,
DreamHack's the biggest LAN in Europe, isn't it?
No.
It might be the
we were
world.
talking about we were talking about Insomnia, but obviously
I've been to Insomnia as well.
Yeah.
And since Insomnia actually ran 3 really well-regarded Hearthstone events, the True Silver series, where Ness, a UK player, he won the second one of those. So it was really nice to have like a home victory. I remember there's like 10 or 15 of us just kind of watching like with bated breath. It went really close. He was up against Dog, who was a very popular player as well. So Ness was a total underdog, but it was fantastic to see like, yes, he's actually going to do it. And it was really fascinating to kind of watch that live, and it's just grown from there.
So how did you progress to getting? So you're now involved with the team, MnM
That's right.
Gaming, MnM Gaming. It's
MnM.
very awkward.
MnM. It's like the
M&M.
rapper
Yes.
or,
It's
or
like
the tasty
all
treats.
the fucking sweets.
Right.
Yeah.
MnM Gaming.
There you go.
That's it.
So you're now signed on to the Hearthstone roster. I believe there's 3. You just had a new signing, I think.
Yeah, we've had a Toast Monster who he came second in the last ESL Premiership. He's kind of he's been playing for about a year, but he's had a long history inside of other kind of games, and I think he's got a very strong appetite for the game. He's clearly kind of got the background knowledge into it. So we kind of wanted to grow from 2 players. So it was me and Mysterious. He was the first player on this, and I want to talk about the ESL Premiership a lot actually, but his record so far is he came third, second, third. And when people can keep re-qualifying, to have that kind of track record
that's quite ridiculously consistent for a Hearthstone player.
It's very consistent, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's kind of handy having a third person. You know, if one person's playing in the tournament, the 2 of us can be watching and thinking, and just having a practice group is kind of useful. You know, you don't get into a KO chamber of saying, "Hey, I think this is good." You also agree. You know, it's nice having somebody else there to kind of contrast.
So I have to ask, how did you get on in the ESL Premiership, Ben?
So this happens about every 6 months. The first 2 I didn't qualify for. The third one I scraped through by the skin on my teeth. It's very, very close, and then I managed to come third in that one. I was undefeated in the group stages, but then playing on stage for the first time is terrifying. It's not one of those things I thought I would do well. I don't know. It's just something you can't plan for when you got lights in your eyes and you got cameras going in your face.
This was Comic-Con last year, wasn't it?
That's right. So
I'm assuming that was like your first exposure to something like that as well. Like that must have been real like deep end shit of just like, here you go, you're on a stage now, perform.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've been to Insomnia before, but you're playing at your own desk.
Yeah.
Here, where you're on a stage and it's got a really good production, and you've got like 500 people to your right watching you. It's bizarre, but getting those nerves out of the way really helped with DreamHack Valencia. That was in, I think, June, July last year, and I came second, which was quite something. You know, it was the largest DreamHack they've ever had. 288 people played. Again, that was just a fun holiday. There were 9 of us who flew out from London together, mainly kind of meltdown people. We just had an apartment, we had fun, we got drunk, we went out for nice meals, and
then came second in a tournament.
Hearthstone.
And then it was like, fuck, I'm good.
Again, direct quote. Yeah, it was. The irony was I didn't get to hang out on the beach near as much because I was stuck inside playing a stupid card game.
Yeah, you were too busy winning.
I say, yeah, stupid card game that you're like obliterating. Yeah, exactly.
It was funny actually because I was playing on the last day, obviously, and pretty much everybody else was hungover, so they were watching on somebody's laptop back in the apartment. There's only like 1 or 2 people I knew actually at the venue who were helping me out. So I was talking to Ball Control remotely because he was in the UK. He helped me a lot. I think Paradox helped me a lot when I was physically there, getting stuff ready for my next match because, I don't have time to practice. So he was like, okay, you need to play this and ban that. So he was my strategist along with Ball Control. So, and then there were like 8 drunk people in the apartment cheering me on.
Nice. Very, very nice. Well done for that. So I have a question. Have you ever had to go up against someone that like you practice with or that you consider to be a good friend, and what's the emotion behind just having to destroy someone like that? Like,
particularly with the UK Premiership, we kind of all know each other now. We're all quite good friends in a way. I mean, you have your kind of mad uncle, and you have your kind of, you have your arch nemesis in a way, but it's all kind of good fun. So you kind of sometimes have to like out mind game your opponents, because he knows I know I brought this, so I need to do something else to counter that, and it's very weird, particularly when it is your own teammates, which happens in tournaments sometimes. So you kind of have to kind of think, hey, it's Hearthstone, I just have to kind of get on with it, and just I tend to try and ignore who my opponent is and just kind of play with whatever I have in front of me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to. That's a really good way to think about it. Otherwise, you run the risk of being like, I would be really bad at it. Like, I would find it really difficult. Like, if I come up against you in like the final of a tournament, I would be like, I don't want to destroy him like that. Like,
it's not a team game. Like, fair enough, you have a team, but it's not. You're not a team.
No, it's one-on-one. Exactly. There are like odd show matches, but outside of that, it is just one-on-one. So you have no one else to blame other than yourself if you screwed up. So that's why I try and kind of ignore who my opponent is. I know a lot of other UK players do that as well, particularly Hello Leroy. He will get into a state where I hate my opponent. I don't know who you are, but I am going to destroy you. And then after a game, he might, slag you off, but then 10 seconds later, he's nice again. It's just the mindset you have to get into, which is absolutely fair enough. Yeah, you have to have the mentality to win. And that works for certain people. I just kind of, because otherwise you'll get intimidated by, some pro player who can play, 14 hours a day and you can't.
I think that was the other side to my question as well. Is like, have you ever come up against a full-on pro player that you're like, holy shit, like I have to go up against like I don't know, like Dog, or where you've been like, oh wow, this is daunting, this is overwhelming. And how did you like deal with that?
Same kind of mentality. I went to HCT. HCT it's a Hearthstone Championship tour. So they're doing these kind of LAN events every
Blizzard.
Exactly. And Blizzard have kind of revamped their competitive scene for the new year, and they're having LAN events every month and a half in every region. So that's the Americas, in Europe, and in Asia as well. So there's events going on all over the place. So I went to Oslo, it's about a month ago now. They've already got DreamHack tours next month. There's DreamHack Sweden, and then a month after that there is one in Italy. So they're going on all the time, and some people go to the ones in America and stuff as well. By the by, so I was asked to play on stream when I played against oh goodness, I don't know his name out, and that's awful. There's a lot of really good players you end up playing against, Tars and everyone else. I'll find it later. And you just have to get on and ignore who your opponent is and just think, I have to win. I might be unfavored, and fortunately I did win that match, but overall in the tournament I kind of got knocked out. But that's how it goes sometimes. You just have to kind of ignore who your opponent is and just try and beat them on your own merits and on luck. It's Hearthstone, it's a card game.
Treat them like a random person you'd get a match made against when you're playing normal round, I suppose.
Yeah. So what's like the next step for you then? Like, are you in this to go like full on pro, or are you just sort of playing it by ear, to enter competitions where you can, and then?
Yeah, pretty much. That's where I am at the moment. I have a full-time job, and I like calling Hearthstone the best hobby in the world. It's more than just that. I put way too much time into it for that. But I like to think about it that way, because I don't think I could devote my whole life to that. Potentially, if I became a commentator, that might be an option, where you have more regular work. You can get hired to go to certain events, rather than it being based on your initial performance. Yeah,
you need some. This is basically what you're saying, is you need something sort of solid to stick to.
Absolutely.
But at the moment, it's just a bit of fun.
It's a bit more than a bit of fun, but
a bit more than that. But you know what I mean?
Sentiment, absolutely. I think it's too risky. Again, if I had just come out to university and I had a gap year, it's what Ball Control's doing now. He's kind of giving competitive Hearthstone a year. At least that was his plan at first, coming out of university and seeing how it goes. If it doesn't work, you can go into the real world for a bit. And I think that's a very kind of a mature mentality to take at it. Give it a time frame. If it doesn't work, fine, keep going. I don't know, Bunny Hopper has gone. He was incredibly good at the game. He still is, but he's finished it. He's going back to do his doctorate in medicine, and I think that's a very strong way of doing it.
Well, this is the thing as well with these games as well. Like, it's all well and good, like being a pro at a game, but there's no guarantee that this game is going to be as popular as it is in 5-6 years, anything like that. I mean, something like Hearthstone might be a little bit different because it's cards. So, unlike a Overwatch or something like that, which can get outdated and be pushed aside by a new or bigger release, Hearthstone is a kind of game where you can probably sink your teeth into a bit longer, I'd imagine, because of the kind of game it is.
I think there's a lot of transferable skills. We saw a number of players switch over to Gwent when that kind of had its full release, particularly like Live Coach and Super JJ, who was on Complexity Gaming. They've moved over wholeheartedly to Gwent, and I know a lot of people tried it at first, saw if it was their thing, and they've kind of gone back. You see Magic, the Gathering Arena, their kind of competition to Hearthstone is going through a closed beta period at the moment, and we of course have Artifacts coming out.
Yeah, that's the Dota. Is that the Dota one? Yeah.
That's a Valve's one. So for start, Valve releasing a video game in 2018, it's been what 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's exciting, and a lot of people are thinking, "Hey, I want to try something new." So I think there's a lot of transferable skills, but Blizzard aren't going to let Hearthstone die overnight. It's making them way too much money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean the revenue they make alone just on pack buying is
it's crazy.
It's nuts.
I don't want to see like the dollars racking up on the first day. It's like whenever there's a new expansion in Twitch, all of a sudden Hearthstone is the #1 game. It'll beat out everything, and it did. It was like ahead of Fortnite, ahead of League on pack day. It's ridiculous.
People just wanted to see what all these big streamers busting packs.
So have you like slammed a load of money down on stuff then, I'm assuming? Like, I'm guessing an ungodly amount of money has been spent on this game. Or
I'm quite well behaved when it comes to that, because I've got like because I've been playing since the beginning. I've got a long history of cards, and when cards are no longer in the standard format, they go into Wild, where you can play any single card that's ever been printed in Hearthstone. So standard is just this year's cards, last year's cards, and the core set. So those, even if you come back to Hearthstone 2 years later, you will have a collection of cards which you can always play in the standard format.
Yeah.
And what this was launched to do was to keep the meta from evolving. If you had the same cards for perpetuity, it would get boring. You kind of need this evolution of old cards getting removed.
Yeah, just rotating stuff and trying to keep it fresh, essentially.
So to answer your question, I spent about £40-50 on their pre-order bundle, which was 50 packs and another 20. And then through playing the game, I had built up enough gold to buy another 50 packs.
Wow, nice.
With any kind of duplicate cards you get the other in-game currency called Dust, which you can then craft any card you want. So you kind of get most of the cards you actually want to fairly easily, as long as you kind of have a...
That's one of the really good things about Hearthstone is like they're not shy at just giving you cards. Like you get like
they're getting a lot better. So during this pre-order period, if you logged in, you get 1 free legendary and you get 3 free packs. You're also guaranteed a legendary within your first 10 packs as well, and you will no longer get duplicates of any legendaries you have. So it's not perfect. You can still get 11 copies of an epic, but they're getting much better, and I think that's because of the competition that might be coming along. Yeah, and that's what we've always wanted. Hearthstone's been in a monopoly for such a long time, and you want that forced competition. As soon as somebody has a tournament mode, Hearthstone has to have one. We want this kind of competition inside of the market. League has got better because of Dota, and vice versa.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, there's no reason these games can't coexist. I mean, there's enough people out there who will play both. So
you see this with PUBG and Fortnite. They're within the same kind of category, but they do their own things. And I think Hearthstone can be that alongside other card games.
I think having multiple games of the same type in competition with each other, it only works out good for the player. Because,
absolutely.
Because it gives you choice, right? Yeah. So if you get bored of one game, you can flip over to the other. But also if you've got these two companies competing against each other, they're going to make their products cheaper, and they're going to try and incentivize you to come back, and and that's always good for a player.
It also builds their fans to be stronger of their brand more than the other. You see this a lot with Dota and League, especially in Fortnite Battle and PUBG. They are so devout to their one game, so they it kind of builds a more loyal fan base as well for those who don't want to kind of flip-flop between whatever genre they want to.
Yeah, definitely. So, final question. I had one, but I've forgotten it. So, does anyone...
it's clearly a good one.
It was a really good one, but I fucked it. So, has anyone got a
When's your next competition? There's a question for you. Actually, there you go.
What's your next?
Oh, I remembered it. It's fine. Go on, carry on.
The next competition, the three of us from MnM Gaming are going to be going to tours in France. So that's going to be, I think that's May 19th-ish. So, yeah, we're going to be competing in that. And that one is quite a strange one in that the tickets sold out within 24 hours.
Wow.
So I don't know whether that's because a lot of the French players are really interested in going to it or people managed to pre-order their tickets. But I remember seeing players in under 24 hours saying, hey, is this sold out already? And
pretty incredible.
So, yeah, it's 256 players limit on the DreamHack one, so that's going to be good fun. So yeah, and particularly now it'll be the first like major tournament after the new expansion. So
yeah, that should be
it'll be enough time for like the meta to have ironed out. But no, that's going to be really fascinating.
So can our viewers potentially watch you in that competition at all?
That'll be on the official Hearthstone Blizzard stream. Actually, that's the one thing that's quite nice about these. It might be on the DreamHack one, but I'll be tweeting that out from my Twitter, which is at BigBenHS. One word, BigBenHS.
Nice,
good stuff.
See, he's got this shit nailed.
Yeah, he's got it nailed.
I hope the team's happy. I've been lectured by the team owner to be able to.
Hey, you've got to make sure you get those Twitter handles correctly, otherwise they'll follow some fucking weird whatever.
Nobody.
Tweet.
So yeah, so we like to give our viewers a bit of a chance to sort of reel off what they're doing. So obviously that's a big thing coming up for you. Is there any other places we can find you, like Twitch or YouTube or anything like that? Feel free to plug everything now. Go.
Okay.
I've got 60 seconds on the clock. Like I said, I played for MnM Gaming. They are one of the kind of most prestigious teams within the UK. They kind of started from nothing and they've kind of grown inside of like Insomnia and the ESL series within the different games. So they've been really good to me and my teammates. So give them a follow. And upcoming tournaments, we have a show match against Barrage Gaming. So that's going to be a special show match where we play as a team, which is a bit different for Hearthstone, where we're doing games.
Yeah, I've seen some of these team-based stuff before.
Basically, we've stolen the Trinity format. so it's a best of 11 match where you have all 9 classes open with a deck pre-made, and then there's a pick and ban phase. So it's a bit like a Dota type thing where we get to ban 2 of our opponent's classes, they ban 2 of ours, and then we self-ban one of them. And it'll be a single 3-hour match, and that's going to be casted by Jambray and Ball Control, who are amongst the best players in the UK and in Europe, in fact. So, no, that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. I'll tweet out about it, but I think it's going to be on Barrage's channel.
Cool, yeah. We'll get the link from you at the end, and we'll put it in the in the description.
We'll put it in our little description-y bit.
Yeah, excellent. So, thank you very much for joining us, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure. To talk to you about Hearthstone and you know your pro experience.
We've talked about Hearthstone a lot on this podcast.
I've learned things. I had no idea.
Any more questions? Just send them my way. I'm more than happy to answer.
Definitely. Wonderful. I mean, who knows? As might come off of this and go install Hearththone.
Yeah.
I probably won't. That's not my game. It's just not my bag. But there you go. So
fair enough.
But that's what Hearthstone is very good at. That's why 80 million people have played the game, because it's free on phones, on tablets, on whatever. Give it a go.
I think it's incredible. Like the reach of it is fantastic. But for me, I'm not into card games at all. My head would explode trying to learn about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thick as shit. I need a gun and I need to go shoot something. That's
in a game.
In a game, not in reality.
Big asterisk there.
In a game.
Let's just qualify.
On that note, let's send this shit home, shall we?
Yeah, go on, do it.
Are we not doing any news?
It's an hour.
We're 2 balls deep for this. Here's the news for the week.
Sorry, guys, I talked too much.
Battle Royale mode. There you go, Battlefield and Call of Duty getting a Battle Royale mode.
Surprising, precisely 0 people.
That's the news. Cool.
That's your news for this week. And if you liked this episode, Make sure you click the like button. Make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you click the notification bell because you want those sweet notifications to tell you when this shit comes out. Follow us on Twitter @GuysPlayingGs. That's @GuysPlayingGS. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/GuysPlayingGames. Follow us on Instagram @GuysPlayingGames. I've been Az, he's been Perry, he's been Ed. We've had Ben. It's been a lovely time. And I guess we'll see you next week. It's theme week next week. We haven't got a theme.
We have got
next week is theme week.
We did talk about a theme.
We didn't.
Who knows, guys? We don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
So
we're going to be doing something. That's all we know.
We're going to be talking about games.
We're going to fucking. We're going to talk about games. We're going to fucking play them because that's what we do.
But now we're going to leave. So bye.
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 Thanks a lot, Ben.